Rock bottom isn't a place you think your way out of. I know because I've been there, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering how everything fell apart so completely. Maybe you lost your job, your relationship ended, your health crashed, or you just woke up one day and realized you don't recognize your own life anymore. Here's what nobody tells you. Motivation is a luxury you can't afford. When you're at the bottom, all those self-help videos talking about finding your why and staying motivated, they're written for people who still have gas in a tank. When you're running on fumes, you don't need a bigger engine. You need a more efficient route. What you need is a system that works. When you have nothing left, forget everything you've heard about finding your passion or manifesting your dreams. When you're at rock bottom, those concepts are about as useful as a life jacket. On a sinking ship, you don't need inspiration. You need instruction. You don't need a reason to get up tomorrow. You need a way to get up tomorrow. The biggest lie we tell people in crisis is that they need to want it badly enough. That's garbage. I've worked with people who desperately wanted to get better, but couldn't brush their teeth for 3 days straight. One has nothing to do with it. What you need is a system that works, independent of how you feel. The 30-day system I'm about to show you assumes you have zero motivation, zero confidence, and zero energy. It's designed for that exact state, because that's where real recovery begins. This isn't about positive thinking or finding your inner strength. It's about building external structures that catch you when your internal world falls apart. Here's the brutal truth: you're not broken. You're just running the wrong operating system for your current situation. When your computer crashes, you don't motivate it back to life. You reboot it with a different approach. Week 1 is about stopping the bleeding. You're not trying to fix everything. You're trying to stop everything from getting worse. Think of yourself as a patient in triage. The goal isn't to run a marathon, it's to stabilize your vital signs. Day 1 through 3, the sleep reset. Your brain is a disaster right now, and sleep is the only thing that repairs it. But here's what most people get wrong. They try to fix their sleep, focusing on falling asleep. That's backwards. You fix sleep by controlling when you wake up. Set a non-negotiable bedtime, 10 p.m. every night. Set an equally non-negotiable wake time, 6 a.m. every morning, no snooze button. No just 5 more minutes. No negotiations with yourself. Your circadian rhythm is probably completely destroyed, and the only way to reset it is with military-level consistency. Your room needs to be a sleep laboratory. Blackout curtains or an eye mask. Your room should be dark enough that you can't see your hand in front of your face. Temperature between 65 and 68 degrees. No phones, no TV. No reading. Your bed is for sleep and sleep only. If you can't fall asleep within 20 minutes, get up and sit in a chair until you feel sleepy. Then go back to bed. Why this matters when you're at rock bottom. Your brain's repair mechanisms are compromised. Sleep is when your brain clears out toxins, consolidates memories, and produces the neurotransmitters. You need to function without consistent sleep. Everything else you try will be like building a house on quicksand. Day 4 through 7, movement medicine. Start walking, not jogging. Not the gym, not yoga. Walking 15 minutes minimum, same time every day. Treat this like a prescription medication, because that's exactly what it is. Walk outside if humanly possible. Your brain needs natural light to regulate its internal clock. And right now, your internal clock is probably completely scrambled. Morning sunlight is especially powerful. It signals to your brain that it's time to be alert and starts the countdown to bedtime. Don't listen to music, don't make phone calls. Don't multitask. This is moving meditation. Let your mind wander, but keep your body moving at a steady pace. You're not trying to burn calories or get fit. You're trying to stimulate the production of BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is like fertilizer for your brain cells. If it's raining, walk in a mall. If you're injured, do chair exercises. If you're bedridden, do breathing exercises. The point isn't the specific activity. It's the daily commitment to moving your body with intention. Week 2. Days 8 through 14 is about proving to yourself that you can keep promises to yourself again. Your self-trust is probably completely shattered. Right now, you've made promises to yourself that you've broken, set goals you haven't met, and started projects you haven't finished. This week is about rebuilding that relationship, one tiny promise at a time. The win rule. Every morning before you check your phone, before you have coffee, before you do anything else, Identify one task so small you cannot fail. Not clean the house, make the bed. Not get my life together. Wash 3 dishes. Not exercise for an hour, do 10 jumping jacks. Complete it before noon, that's it. 1 win every day, write it down when you complete it. Keep a running list. This isn't about productivity. It's about rebuilding your identity as someone who finishes things. Why this works. Your brain has forgotten how to associate you with success right now. Your default assumption is that you'll fail, give up, or mess things up. These micro wins rebuild that neural pathway. You're not trying to accomplish great things. You're trying to remember what accomplishment feels like. The key is making the task so small that even on your worst day, you can still do it. If make the bed feels too big, make it fluff 1 pillow. If wash 3 dishes feels overwhelming, make it put 1 dish in the dishwasher. You're building a success muscle, and like any muscle, you start with the lightest weight possible. The no decision rule for these 7 days. Eliminate as many decisions as possible. Decision fatigue is real, and you're already running on empty. Every choice you make, what to wear, what to eat, which route to take, depletes your mental energy. Save that energy for the one thing that matters. Your daily win: wear the same type of clothes every day. Steve Jobs wore identical black turtlenecks for a reason. Eat similar meals. If oatmeal worked yesterday, eat oatmeal today. Take the same walk route. Shop at the same store. Use the same checkout lane if possible. This isn't about becoming boring. It's about creating cognitive space. When your basic decisions are automated, your brain has more capacity for the important stuff. You're essentially putting your life on cruise control so you can focus on rebuilding your engine. The environment set up your physical space is either helping or hurting your recovery. This week, make your environment work for you. Instead of against you, remove temptations and obstacles. Add support systems and visual cues. If you're trying to eat better, put healthy snacks at eye level and hide the junk food. If you're trying to read more, put books where you normally leave your phone. If you're trying to sleep better, charge your phone in another room. Your willpower is compromised right now, so let your environment do the heavy lifting. Set up your clothes the night before. Make your walking shoes by the door. Make your space as friction-free as possible for the habits you're trying to build, and as friction-heavy as possible for the habits you're trying to break. Week 3 days, 15 through 21, in when you start adding layers to your foundation. You stabilized your sleep, established movement, and rebuilt basic self-trust. Now you're ready to start connecting with the world, beyond your immediate survival needs. The connection thread: reach out to one person every day. Not to pour your heart out, not to ask for help, not to explain what you've been going through, just to maintain a connection thread. To the outside world, a simple text asking how someone's day went, a brief phone call to check in on a family member, a genuine comment on someone's social media post, thank you note to someone who helped you months ago. When you're at rock bottom, isolation feels protective. It feels like you're shielding others from your problems and shielding yourself from judgment. But isolation is actually destructive. It creates a feedback loop where your thoughts become your entire reality. These small touches keep you tethered to the fact that other people exist, have their own struggles, and don't spend all day thinking about your failures. The key is keeping it light. You're not looking for deep conversations or emotional support. You're simply maintaining social skills and reminding yourself that you're part of a larger human community. Think of it like keeping a plant alive. With just enough water, you're not trying to make it bloom, just preventing it from dying. Start with the easiest people first. That friend who always responds positively. The family member who's glad to hear from anyone. The acquaintance who loves talking about their hobbies. Save the complicated relationships for later, when you have more emotional bandwidth. The learning bridge. Spend 20 minutes every day learning something completely unrelated to your problems. A language app, a YouTube tutorial on how to change a tire, a podcast about medieval history, an online course about photography basics. The subject doesn't matter. The learning does. Your brain needs to remember it can grow and change. Depression and defeat make everything feel permanent. Your situation, your capabilities, your future learning proves that's not true. It creates new neural pathways. and demonstrates that you can still acquire new information and skills. Choose something with clear progress markers. Language apps show you streaks and levels. Tutorial videos teach you specific techniques. You can practice courses, have modules and completion certificates. You want external evidence that you're moving forward, even if everything else feels stuck. Avoid learning anything related to your current problems. If you're dealing with career issues, don't watch career advice videos. If you're struggling with relationships, don't study relationship psychology. This learning time is a mental vacation from your challenges, not an attempt to solve them. The gratitude practice, but not what you think. Forget the traditional gratitude journal, where you list things you're thankful for. When you're at rock bottom, forcing gratitude can feel toxic and fake. Instead, try the better-than-expected practice. Each night, identify one thing that went slightly better than expected that day, maybe. The line at the grocery store moved faster than usual. Maybe your coffee tasted decent. Maybe you didn't feel as awful as you thought you would. Maybe that work email you were dreading wasn't as harsh as you anticipated. This trains your brain to notice incremental improvement. Instead of demanding dramatic transformation, it teaches you to calibrate your expectations realistically and celebrate small victories. Most importantly, it proves that positive surprises still happen, even during your worst periods. Write these down in a simple list. Don't elaborate or analyze them. Just traffic was lighter than expected, or felt less tired than yesterday. Over time, this list becomes evidence that things can and do get better even in tiny increments. The boundary practice this week. Practice saying no to one thing every day. Not big things, small things. No, I can't stay on this phone call for another hour. No, I'm not going to scroll social media right now. No, I won't commit to that project today. When you're at rock bottom, you often have terrible boundaries. You say yes when you mean no. You overcommit when you're already overwhelmed. You let people take more than you can give. This happens because you feel like you don't deserve to protect your time and energy. Start small and build up. Say no to the telemarketer. Instead of listening to the whole pitch, say no to yourself. When you want to stay in bed past your wake-up time, say no to the friend who always calls when they need something, but never when you do. Each no rebuilds your sense of agency and self-respect. You're not being selfish, you're being selective. You're not being mean, you're being mindful of your limited resources. Week 4 days 22 to 28 is about expanding what's possible. You've built a foundation, created momentum, and established some basic systems. Now you're ready to start imagining and working toward a future that looks different from your current reality. The skill stack. Choose one skill you can practice for 30 minutes daily. This isn't about becoming an expert or changing your career. It's about rebuilding your identity, someone who develops and grows. The skill should be concrete, measurable, and completely separate from your current problems. Drawing is excellent because you can see immediate improvement, and it engages different parts of your brain. Start with basic shapes and shadows. Coding works well because it's logical and has clear, right-wrong answers. Try free courses on Python or HTML basics. Cooking teaches you to follow instructions and produces tangible results. You can eat. Writing builds expression and emotional processing skills. Try morning pages or short stories. The key is choosing something where progress is visible and measurable. You want to be able to look back after 7 days and say, I couldn't do that a week ago and now I can. This rebuilds your confidence in your ability to learn and improve. Practice at the same time every day. Make it a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. Set up your practice space the night before. If you're drawing, have your pencils and paper ready. If you're coding, have your laptop open to the right website. If you're cooking, have your recipe and ingredients prepared. Don't aim for perfection, aim for consistency. A mediocre 30-minute practice session every day is infinitely more valuable than a perfect 3-hour session. Once a week, you're building a skill muscle. Not creating a masterpiece. The social challenge. Have one meaningful conversation this week. Not therapy. Not venting about your problems. Not asking for advice. Genuine conversation about someone else's life. Ask someone about their work, their hobbies, their family, their dreams. Listen to their answer. It's the most interesting thing you've heard all day. Respond with genuine follow-up questions. Depression and rock-bottom experiences make us incredibly self-focused because survival requires it. Your brain has been in crisis mode, where everything gets filtered through. How does this affect me, and how does this make me feel? This exercise reminds you that other people have complex, inner lives too, which paradoxically makes you feel less alone and less like a burden. Choose someone safe for this experiment, not the person you're having conflict with, or the friend who always turns conversations back to themselves. Pick someone who generally seems happy to talk and interested in connection. Practice active listening. Put away your phone, make eye contact, and resist the urge to relate everything back to your own experience. When they say something interesting, ask, "Tell me more about that." Or, "How did that make you feel?" Or, "What was that like for you?" This serves multiple purposes. It rebuilds your social skills, reminds you that you're capable of caring about others, and often results in people feeling more connected to you, which can improve your support network without you having to ask for anything. The planning preview. On day 25, write down 3 things you want to attempt in the next 30 days. Not accomplish, not achieve, not master, attempt. The goal isn't success, it's engagement with the future. When you're at rock bottom, the future doesn't exist. Everything feels hopeless and permanent. This exercise brings the future back into focus. These should be meaningful but not overwhelming. Apply for 3 jobs, not get a new job. Go on 2 dates, not find a relationship. Take 1 community college class, not go back to school, have dinner with a friend twice. Not rebuild my entire social life. Write them down by hand, not on your phone or computer. There's something powerful about physically writing out your intentions. Put the paper somewhere you'll see it regularly, on your bathroom mirror, taped to your coffee maker, tucked into your daily planner. Don't worry about how you'll accomplish these things. Yet you're not making a detailed plan. You're simply acknowledging that there are things you'd like to try. This shifts your brain from survival mode, just getting through today, to growth mode, imagining what tomorrow might look like. The identity shift. Start noticing when you describe yourself with permanent negative labels. I'm not good at, I never, I can't. These statements feel true when you're at rock bottom, but they're actually just descriptions of your current situation, not permanent facts about who you are. When you catch yourself using these labels, yet or right now to the end. I'm not good at managing money yet. I always mess up relationships. Right now I can't handle stress in my current situation. This small linguistic shift opens up the possibility for change. Start experimenting with new identity statements based on your recent behavior. I'm someone who keeps promises to myself. I'm someone who takes daily walks. I'm someone who's learning new things. I'm someone who reaches out to friends. These might feel fake at first, but they're actually more accurate than your old negative labels. Pay attention to how you introduce yourself to new people or describe yourself to old friends. Are you leading with your problems, your failures, your limitations? Try leading with your recent positive actions instead. Not to fake positivity, but to remind yourself and others that you're more than your lowest moments. The final 2 days are about integration and transition. You're not graduating from recovery. You're transitioning from crisis management to sustainable growth. This is where you take everything you've learned about yourself and build a bridge to whatever comes next. Day 29 is the review. Today is data collection day, not judgment day. Look back at your 28 days with the curiosity of a scientist, not the criticism of a judge. You're not looking for perfection. You're looking for patterns that led to slightly better days versus slightly worse days. Pull out a piece of paper and create 4 columns. What worked, what didn't work. what surprised me, and what I want to continue be ruthlessly honest, but also ruthlessly fair. What worked? Maybe the morning walk was consistently helpful, but the afternoon walk felt like a chore. Maybe reaching out to certain people boosted your mood, while others drained your energy. Maybe learning Spanish felt engaging, but the drawing tutorials felt forced. This isn't about right or wrong. It's about what actually moved the needle for you. Personally, what didn't work, maybe the 10 p.m. bedtime was too early, and you just lay there anxious. Maybe daily phone calls felt overwhelming, and you skipped them half the time. Maybe the gratitude practice felt forced and fake. That's valuable information, not failure. What surprised you? Maybe you discovered you actually enjoy cooking when you're not stressed about money. Maybe you realized you're better at keeping promises to yourself than you thought. Maybe you found that your anxiety was much worse in the afternoon than the morning. Surprises are gold mines of self-knowledge. What do you want to continue? This is your sustainable core. The practices that felt natural, helpful, and maintainable. These become your non-negotiables going forward. Maybe it's the morning walk and the daily win. Maybe it's the consistent bedtime and the weekly skill practice. Keep this list short and realistic. Look for patterns in your difficult days too. What was different about the days when everything? Did you skip your walk? Stay up too late, spend too much time on social media. Have difficult conversations. Skip meals. These patterns help you identify your early warning signs so you can intervene before things spiral. D30, the bridge forward. Today you build the bridge between where you've been and where you're going. Take your 3 attempt goals from day 25 and break each one down into the smallest possible. First steps, then break those down even further. If your goal is get in better shape, your first step might be research gyms near me. Break that down, Google gyms within 5 miles of my house. Then read reviews of 3 gyms. Then call one gym to ask about membership options. Make each step so small that you could complete it, even on a bad day if it's improved my career situation. Start with update, one section of my resume. Break it down, rewrite the summary section. Then add my most recent job experience. Then proofread the contact information. Then save resume as PDF. Then email resume to myself to test formatting. The key is making the friction as low as possible. You want to eliminate every excuse your future self might use to avoid taking action. Don't just write update resume. Write open laptop, find resume file on desktop. Change font to Arial, update phone number. Save as new version. Create what I call activation sequences. Specific, step-by-step instructions for starting each goal. When you're having a low energy day, you don't want to have to figure out what to do next. You want to be able to follow your own instructions, like a recipe. Write these activation sequences on index cards or in a note on your phone. Make them so detailed that someone else could follow them. This isn't being overly simplistic. It's being realistic about how your brain works. When motivation is low, the sustainability check. Before you move forward, do a sustainability audit. Look at everything you're planning to continue and ask yourself, can I maintain this when life gets complicated again? Because life will get complicated again. You'll have stressful weeks, emotional upheavals, and unexpected challenges. Build in flexibility from the start. Instead of I'll walk for 15 minutes every day, make it I'll walk for 15 minutes most days. And on difficult days, I'll at least step outside for 2 minutes instead of I'll practice Spanish for 30 minutes daily. Make it I'll practice Spanish for 30 minutes when possible, and do a 5-minute lesson when I'm pressed for time. Create minimum, effective doses for your most important habits. What's the smallest version of each practice that still provides some benefit? This becomes your backup plan for tough days. A 2-minute walk is better than no walk. A 5-minute learning session is better than no learning session. One text to one friend is better than no. Social connection, identify your early warning signs. the signs that you're starting to slip back toward rock bottom. Maybe it's sleeping past 8 a.m. 3 days in a row. Maybe it's skipping your daily win for a full week. Maybe it's isolating for more than 2 days. Without reaching out to anyone, write these down and commit to taking action when you notice them. Create a circuit breaker plan. What you'll do when you notice those warning signs. This might be calling a specific friend, scheduling a therapy appointment, going back to the basic foundation, weak practices for a few days, or simply acknowledging that you need extra support. Right now, here's what actually happened in these 30 days, and it's more profound than you might realize. You didn't transform your life. You transformed your relationship with your life. You proved to yourself that you can make and keep small promises you demonstrated. That improvement doesn't require inspiration. You built evidence that you can be trusted with your own care. Let me be clear about what this system doesn't do. It doesn't fix depression, your anxiety, solve your financial problems, mend your relationships, or give you a new career. Those are bigger projects that might require therapy, medication education, time, or professional help. This system does something more fundamental. It rebuilds your basic life skills and self-trust, so you can tackle those bigger challenges from a position of stability instead of crisis. You've essentially rebuilt your psychological foundation. Think of it like renovating a house. You can't add beautiful rooms or fancy fixtures until you fix the foundation, the plumbing and the electrical system. Sleep, movement, daily wins, and basic social connection are your psychological infrastructure. Everything else gets built on top of that. The reason the system works isn't because it's revolutionary. IT works because it's reliable. It assumes you'll have bad days, low motivation, and moments of doubt. Duty accounts for your humanity instead of demanding you transcend it. Most recovery advice assumes you have resources you don't actually have. This system works with what you actually have: time, basic bodily functions, and the ability to make very small decisions. But here's the most important part. You now have a template for recovery that you can return to any time. Life will knock you down again. Maybe not to rock bottom, but to difficult places. The difference is that now you know the way back. You have a proven system that works for your specific brain and circumstances. You've also learned something crucial about the nature of change. Change doesn't happen because you finally get motivated enough or because you have a dramatic breakthrough. Change happens through consistent, small actions that compound over time. You've experienced this firsthand. Now you know that the person who walked for 15 minutes every day for a week is not the same person who couldn't get out of bed a month ago. The most radical thing you've done is prove that your current situation is not your permanent identity. You are not your worst moments, your biggest failures, or your deepest struggles. You are your capacity to take the next right action, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Something you might not have noticed yet. Your recovery doesn't just affect you. The people around you have been watching, even if they haven't said anything. Your family has noticed that you're getting up at consistent times. Your friends have noticed that you're responding to texts more regularly. Your coworkers might have observed that you seem more present and engaged. This isn't about performing recovery for other people. It's about understanding that your well-being has ripple effects. When you take care of yourself consistently, you become more available for the relationships that matter to you. When you keep promises to yourself, other people start trusting that you'll keep promises to them too. When you develop skills and engage with learning, you become more interesting and engaged in conversations. You might also notice that some relationships change during your recovery, and that's normal. Some people were comfortable with your rock bottom version because it didn't challenge them to grow or change. Others might have enabled your negative patterns without realizing it as you become healthier. Some relationships will naturally shift or even end. This can feel scary, but it's actually a sign that you're growing. Focus on deepening relationships with people who support your growth and gently distance yourself from people who pull you back toward old patterns. This isn't about cutting people off dramatically. It's about gradually investing more time and energy in relationships that are mutually supportive and life-giving. You might also find that you want to help others who are struggling. This is a natural impulse, and it can be part of your continued growth. But be careful not to become a savior or caretaker. You can share what worked for you without taking responsibility for other people's recovery. Your job is to maintain your own well-being, so you can be a stable, supportive presence for others when appropriate. Let's talk about something no other recovery video will tell you. You're going to have setbacks. Not might have, will have. This isn't pessimism, it's preparation. Life is unpredictable, and believing that you'll never struggle again is setting yourself up for unnecessary shame and disappointment. When you do, setbacks don't erase your progress. If you maintained your recovery system for 3 months and then had a rough week where you slipped back into old patterns, you didn't fail, you had a human experience. The difference between your future setbacks and your original rock bottom is that now you have a roadmap back to stability. Create a setback protocol now while you're thinking clearly. Write down exactly what you'll do when you notice yourself sliding. Maybe it's immediately going back to the foundation. Weak practices. Maybe it's calling a specific friend or therapist. Maybe it's taking a mental health day to reset your systems. Having a plan removes the decision fatigue that comes with crisis and gives you concrete steps to follow. Distinguish between a setback and a reset. A setback is temporary, a few days or weeks, where you're not maintaining your systems as well as usual. A reset is when you need to go back to basics for a more extended period because life has changed significantly. Both are normal and manageable. When you have tools and perspective, build recovery time into your expectations. If you have a stressful event coming up, a job change, a move, a family crisis, plan for the fact that your systems might get disrupted. This isn't defeatist, it's realistic. When you expect some disruption, you can prepare for it instead of being blindsided by it. Most importantly, practice self-compassion during setbacks. The voice in your head that says you were doing so well, why did you mess it up, is not your friend. Replace it with I'm human. I had a rough patch and now I'm getting back on track. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd show a good friend going through a difficult time. 1 year from now, you probably won't remember most of the specific daily wins from your 30-day recovery. But you will remember that you proved to yourself that you could climb back from the lowest point in your life. That knowledge changes everything. You'll face other challenges. Everyone does, but you'll face them as someone who knows they can rebuild from nothing. You'll have confidence that's not based on never failing, but on always being able to start again. That's a different kind of strength than most people have. The skills you've learned: consistent sleep hygiene, regular movement, daily small wins, social connection, boundary setting, continuous learning. These aren't just recovery tools. They're life skills that will serve you in every context. The discipline you built getting out of bed at 6 a.m. will help you in your career. The self-trust you rebuilt by keeping small promises will improve your relationships. The emotional regulation you developed through consistent routines will help you handle stress. Think about the person you were 30 days ago. That person couldn't imagine being where you are now. The person you are now can't fully imagine where you'll be in another 30 days or 6 months or a year from now. But you can trust that if you maintain the fundamentals, sleep, movement, small daily progress, and connection, you'll be someone you're proud to become. You've learned the most important lesson of adult life. You are responsible for your own well-being, and you have the power to influence it significantly through your daily choices, not complete control. Life is unpredictable and unfair, but significant influence. That's enough to build a life on. The biggest shift you've probably experienced is moving from survival mode to growth mode. Survival mode is about getting through the day. Growth mode is about building towards something. Survival mode asks, how do I make the pain stop? Growth mode asks, how do I create more of what I want? You can now start thinking about bigger questions. What kind of person do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to build? What matters most to me? These aren't questions you could have engaged with meaningfully when you were at rock bottom, but they're essential questions for building a fulfilling life. Start small with these bigger questions too. Don't try to figure out your life purpose or your ultimate goals. Instead, ask, what do I want the next month to feel like? What would make me proud of how I'm spending my time? What small experiment could I try? That might lead somewhere interesting. You might discover that some of the things you thought you wanted don't actually interest you anymore. That's normal rock bottom. Strips away a lot of illusions and expectations. You get to rebuild not just your habits and routines, but your values and priorities. This is an opportunity, not a loss. Pay attention to what energizes you and what drains you. Your energy is precious now. You've learned how to manage it carefully. Use that skill to make bigger life decisions. Jobs, relationships, commitments, hobbies, evaluate them based on whether they give you energy or take it away. This isn't selfish, it's sustainable. You're not the same person who hit rock bottom, but you're also not trying to become someone completely different. You're becoming a more sustainable, authentic version of yourself. Someone who has systems for maintaining their well-being, skills for rebuilding when things fall apart, and the wisdom that comes from having survived your worst period. Right now, before you watch another video, you scroll through more content, I want you to do something specific. Don't bookmark this video to watch later. Don't tell yourself, you'll start tomorrow or next Monday. Don't wait until you feel motivated or ready. Take out your phone and set 2 alarms. One for tonight's bedtime at 10 p.m. labeled Sleep Recovery Starts Now. And one for tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. labeled Day 1. I keep promises to myself. That's it, 2 alarms. 30 seconds of action. This isn't about sleep optimization or morning routines. This is about proving to yourself that you can make a decision and follow through on it immediately. Your recovery starts with this tiny act of self-trust. Tonight, when that alarm goes off at 10 p.m., honor it even if you don't fall asleep right away. Even if you feel like you could stay up longer. Even if you're in the middle of something. Go to your room, turn off the lights, and lie down. You're not just going to bed. You're keeping your first promise to yourself in a long time. Tomorrow morning when the 6 a.m. alarm goes off, get up, don't snooze it. Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't wait until you feel like it. Your feet on the floor, that's your first small win. Then come back to this video and start day 1. Officially, but the recovery starts right now. With those 2 alarms and the radical act of keeping a promise. To the person who needs you most, your 30-day journey starts tonight. Set those alarms, honor them tomorrow. We build from there. If this system helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Dirty bottom is lonely, but recovery doesn't have to be. Subscribe for more. No fluff strategies that work. When motivation fails, your comeback story starts now.